According to the World Health Organization, WHO, more than 1 in 3 women have experienced some form of physical or sexual violence during their lifetime. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Law and Order, a program that enlightens you about your rights and responsibility as a citizen of Nigeria and how to seek redress when these rights are violated. Thank you for joining. On the program today, we will be taking a look at the response of Nigerian police to gender-based violence. Gender-based violence is a widespread menace in Nigeria, and it affects both men and women. The Nigerian Police Force is the major stakeholder in preventing and responding to gender-based violence. The police play a significant role in enhancing access to justice for survivors of gender-based violence. They are the first point of contact for victims in the criminal justice system. Their attitude towards survivors at the initial contact can have an impact whether the victim or survivors exercises their rights under the law and seek other victim support assistance. Despite the prevalence of this menace, rates of reporting to the police have been historically low in Nigeria. Now the question is, why do people shy away from reporting gender-based violence cases to the police? Could it be their attitude to survivors at the initial contact? Let's find out what some Nigerians have to say about this.
See, it's only a lucky woman that will have justice through police right nowadays, because by the time police made some arrests, and before you know it, the arrested settles the police. There's nothing you can do about it. You will see him going freely and still be bragging about it. You know, it's so painful when a man rapes a lady or a girl, you know, and at the end of the day, there's no justice for the person, and you see the person bragging up and down. You know, it's so painful. What ladies are experiencing now in the hands of men in the name of marriage is very terrible.
Yes, I also think people are shy of reporting gender-based violence, and sometimes the reason why people don't speak up is because when they even talk about it, nobody listens to them. When they take it to the police, I've seen some cases where they take things to police station, and the way it's being treated, they treat it as if it's nothing, especially when you don't have money or you don't have connection in this part of the world, Nigeria. Nobody listens to you.
Yes, on our own side as a country, I saw that their involvement in life is not that kind serious if you compare to the Western world. They're supposed to sit up. Sometimes when such a thing happens, they will feel nonchalant. You know, what does it mean? Or dead body all over. They don't feel it. So Nigeria should sit up to make them feel the impact of citizens and to act promptly.
There is an increasingly growing need for the Nigerian Police Force to address gender-based violence and harassment more proactively. This is motivated by the need to work in accordance with the police's core mandate of protecting life and property, and by extension, the need to prevent the physical, emotional, and financial harm gender-based violence causes to individuals. According to a drafted police force order by the Justice Research Institute in collaboration with Ford Foundation for Responding to Gender-Based Violence, the Nigerian Police Force are saddled with the responsibility of creating awareness that aims to influence attitudinal change. Awareness efforts that should provoke thinking and behavioral change rather than just information-based messages, and their strategies are to be embedded with awareness themes.
The police has a critical responsibility in not just responding but preventing gender-based violence. First of all, any offense that takes place, usually it is the police that is first approached. It is the police that is first that gets the report first. So it is important that as a first responder to a gender-based violence, there are a number of things you can do when you arrive there. Especially if the crime is ongoing, you try to stabilize the situation, cordon the area, arrest the necessary suspects if they are there, and then provide enough protection for the victims. You know, make sure that the victims are calmed down. You speak to them in a very empathetic tone, and then if it is a case that is the incident has already happened and all that, you do similar things. Maybe the suspect is not there, but you make sure that if children are involved, they are taken care of. If women are involved, anybody that is a victim or a survivor of that process must be given adequate protection and must be listened to in a very understanding and empathetic way.
Inactive participation in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence of women and girls in Nigeria. For the first time ever, female police officers and the wives of police officers, led by President of Police Officers Wives Association Hajia Hajara Ali Baba, embarked on a walk in Abuja. Over 20 women carrying placards began their walk from the Nigerian Police Force headquarters, Abuja, accompanied by policemen in police vans, horses, and some on foot, walking through the Federal Secretariat down to the Unity Fountain. It was a 10-kilometer walk.
The fight against gender-based violence has taken a different dimension this year as policemen and women march out in mass to create awareness about gender-based violence in Nigeria. Some people have described it as a walk to freedom. Is this truly a walk to freedom? Only time will tell.
Approaching the Ministry of Women Affairs, they made a stop for a solidarity visit. The police officers were received by the acting permanent secretary of the ministry on behalf of the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talon. During the solidarity visit, the acting permanent secretary, Olusegun Adebiyi, noted that gender-based violence is ravaging the country and there's a need for awareness.
And I want to believe that all hands will be on deck for all the stakeholders for us to come together and ensure that the laws, because there are existing laws, the VAP Act is there, the child rights is also there. We have the states that are domesticated, but implementation is the key. As we speak, we have 27 of the child rights that have been passed by various states, and we have 32 of the VAP Act. The two documents are all encompassing. They are all inclusive. But the fact remains that the documentation is very brilliant, but implementation is what is very, very, very key. And the implementation of the contents of those documents lies in the hand of the police, because you need proper prosecution for you to be able to bring the perpetrators to book. And on our own side, the social aspect of it that has to do with rehabilitation and the integration of the women, the victims, the survivors. That by the time we have that, we have satisfactory prosecution. Of course, you can be rest assured that the women, the survivors, we have the rehabilitation centers and sexual assault centers across the 36 states of the federation, and that aspect of rehabilitation, counseling, and psychosocial services will all be a thing of the past.
According to him, there must be a stricter penalty for perpetrators and proper implementation of established laws. The Force Special Advisor and Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG Aisha Abubakar, affirmed the stand of the Inspector General of Police and entire police force in having zero tolerance to violence against women and the girl child.
To say that we have zero tolerance to gender-based violence
Previously, we have just been participating, like you invite us to come and participate and then light up the force headquarters. This year, to show our commitment, we are doing our own events to show the public so that we can build confidence in the society. This year, we have 3 activities. First, we lit up the force headquarters orange, which is symbolic to say orange the wall to end gender-based violence. And the second is today that our president is leading us to affirm the stand of the Nigerian police on our commitment to end gender-based violence in our society. And tomorrow again, the poor president is also organizing, leading the team on another sensitization and awareness workshop for police families and communities. Also because we also need to sensitize our families to ensure that they are also not victims of gender-based violence.
Also speaking, the wife of the Inspector General of Police, Hajia Hajara Alikali, who is also the president of the Police Officers' Wives Association of Nigeria, POWA.
Today marks the 16 days activism against gender-based violence, as we all know. It's an international campaign with the aim of challenging violence against women and children, girls in the world today. I consider our physical health and well-being very important. That is why this work is vital. Very eminent guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Police Officers' Wives Association under my watch, consider the wealth benefit of constant engagement in physical exercise very important, as it is obvious that health is wealth. Fellow participants, it is my sincere prayers that we shall all take this exercise very seriously, as our health remains our greatest asset. It is with joy that I, Hajia Hajara Baba Alkali Usman, the POWA National President, declare this health work open to the good of mankind and the glory of the Almighty Allah.
After the solidarity visit at the Ministry of Women Affairs, they marched to the force headquarters. This program can be viewed live on YouTube. For more information, comments and questions, please send your messages to the social media handles displayed on your screen. The 10-kilometer walk embarked upon by the Nigerian Police Force was the first of its kind in the history of 16 days of activism on gender-based violence in Nigeria, as relates to creating awareness on the part of the police force. And we hope that it is sent a strong message to the perpetrators of all forms of gender-based violence to desist. Now let's proceed to the part where we had an exclusive interview with the Assistant Inspector General of Police, and she's also the Force Special Advisor to the Inspector General of Police, and her name is AIG Aisha Abubakar. To stay.
Well, I've said it already. You can see that there's a paradigm shift. You can see the change. Previously, the police would just be invited maybe to come and talk, give a talk, response during 16 days of activism, and we're just invited to show you that the police is highly committed, and the issue of gender-based violence is of concern to us, and that we want to reassure the Nigerian public that the Nigerian police is fully committed to eliminate this violence. That is why you see us this year not just attending programs organized by Ministry of Women Affairs or some other agencies, but that the police themselves are coming out on the street. You know, so this is something really new. What you saw today is a group of female police officers led by the Force Gender Advisor, that is myself, and the police officers' wives
Association, the national president, that's the president of the Inspector General of Police, the wife of the Inspector General of Police, and other wives of DIGs and others, AIGs, CPs, and senior police officers, to show you that we are saying no against gender-based violence. And the IGP and his management team, they are very committed. He is focusing on building capacity of police. Now, what I mean by that is that previously, you know, these issues of gender-based violence especially has risen drastically within the last 1 year, especially during with the COVID-19 pandemic. And we have had like 3 folds of reports. And that's what informed that this is alarming, and that Mr. President has declared state of emergency, and he has given the police, Minister of Women Affairs, and other relevant stakeholders marching order now should come. And you can see the level of commitment. And what we are doing is to re-strategize, building capacity around police to make them more effective, to be able to detect, to prevent, and respond effectively to victims of gender-based violence or the survivors. That is the focus we're talking about, capacity building. If officers do not understand the concept itself, you see, it's only what you know that you'll be able to. And the focus of the Inspector General of Police is to build capacity. And that is why IGP now has approved the inclusion of specialized training in all our training colleges. That's changing because now we're in the process of reviewing the entire police curriculum. And gender issues, especially handling GBV, training officers on how to detect, as I told you, to prevent and respond effectively to victims of gender-based violence is one of the key, right from recruit level, at strategic management level, as well as middle cadre level. Each time you go on training in all the police colleges, you see that gender issues is key. It's going to be part of the things that we are going to teach. Now we are in the process of developing a manual. This manual is to teach officers different levels, different modules, either at the junior level, middle cadre, or at the strategic level, on how to handle cases, detection, prevention, and responding to gender violence. Now, this training manual is being developed. Now we are on it by support from the UN Women, Office of the Vice President through Ford Foundation, and the Nigerian Police. We are putting the training manual together. We have done that, and then the next 2 weeks we are going to have series of training our instructors in all police colleges and institutions, so that they'll be able to handle these courses effectively and administer it on police officers. We want them to understand the implication, the ills involved in gender-based violence, so that they'll be able, and how to respond. I'm also looking at training our police medical services so that they'll be able to handle cases of GBV, manage them, and so on and so forth. So the IG is doing a lot around this to make sure that police is delivering the best services for Nigerian public. For police to act or to respond, you have to report. I wouldn't know if you have been violated, if you are facing any gender. You have to come to the Nigerian police and report your matter. So once you report, and sorry, I didn't even tell you, in all the state commands and formation, we have the gender desk officer. These are officers that are well trained to handle gender-based violence. So what you do is you come to police and report. So there are different stages. The stages are, first, it depends on what kind of violence it is. Let's take a case of rape, for instance. So when you come, you know that there are a series of, you have to go through medicals, and that's why I talked to you about training our police medical services to be able to effectively handle victims of gender-based violence. Because for you to, when you prosecute cases, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that that victim was actually raped. Because if you lose the critical part of taking your evidences, you can easily lose a case. So that's why you have to be guided, They have to go and take samples. They have to go to the scene of crime. There are so many other things that you need to do depending on the situation. So the police will be able to gather all the evidences that you need to be able to prosecute it, which of course you can only prosecute. It is also the judiciary that are at the end that will be able to administer justice. The police can only prosecute, go through the process, but they don't pronounce judgment. It's the judiciary. We can only do our bits and present it, right? So that is it. It's a synergy between judiciary and the police. Yes, I have, since the beginning of 16 days of activism during the joint interministerial conference, I came out and I said specifically on behalf of the Inspector General of Police that the force has zero tolerance for GBV, and the police is ready to make sure that we arrest and prosecute all perpetrators of gender-based violence. So they should desist from this crime. They should make sure that they don't fall into the temptation of doing that, because the police will be on their trail and ensure that justice is being administered.
During the interview with the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Aisha Abubakar, she did speak about the training for trainers from different police colleges in Nigeria. We did a follow-up 2 weeks later.
I believe we will be able to tutor our trainees also, not only the trainees, but even the staff of various institutions should be able to know from us what we have learned from here and how they could go ahead to handle sexual gender-based violence. And we'll be able to also tell them that sexual gender-based violence is not only on women, it's just that it is prevalent on women and children, but it also happens to the male counterparts. They are also sexually abused. And this sexual gender-based violence, as it says, sexual, most people will think it is just a sexual thing in quotes, but it's not just sexual. It happens in different ways. So this has been able to expose us to the fact that it is not just in the sexual aspect of it. People could be abused sexually, they could be assaulted, which is also a violence. So we have been exposed to all that.
Looking at the content of the manual, it will help us in the prosecution of the offender. And the manual it will even be of help, at least to enhance the knowledge of every police officer that's going to be handling this offense.
Welcome back. Gender-based violence is inevitable. However, it can be prevented. When it does happen, it is very important that you register your complaints with the police the appropriate way to ensure justice. And that is the much we can take on this episode of Law and Order. Remember that ignorance is never an excuse in a court of law. Thank you for being a part of the program, and join us next week for another enlightening edition of Law and Order. I am Martia Umar. Bye for now.